Hello and welcome. This is Faceless Opinion, considering joining the Dragon Cult because they got sweet rolls. Welcome you back to Skyrim Month, the series where we go over Skyrim-related topics throughout the entire month of November. Legend holds that the highest-ranking Dragon Priests were granted magical masks, strange artifacts that can defy the laws of time and grant their wearer powerful enchantments. Now, whether or not you want to believe that defying the laws of time part, only two things are true. First being that those masks do have powerful enchantments that were only given out to certain Dragon Priests, and two, these are my favorite collectibles in the game. I always make it a thing I do whenever I restart Skyrim, which is why I wanted to do a ranking of all the Dragon Priest masks in the game, DLC included. What's the best? What's the worst? Let's find out. Number 14, the Wooden Mask. Yeah, this one was a no-brainer. The Wooden Mask does not serve any vital role when it comes to combat enchantment or utility purposes. It mainly serves as a key when you collect all 8 of the Dragon Priest masks so that you can unlock mask number 9, Konahrik. That's it. Number 13, Hevnoraak. This iron mask grants the wearer immunity to both poison and disease. On paper, that sounds like a good deal, but in practice, not really. Diseases in Skyrim are not that big of an issue. You can instantly cure yourself of any ailment by using a shrine, which can be found in a major city, or by using a potion or eating hog feathers. If you're either a werewolf or vampire lord, you are already immune to disease, so that isn't going to help you either. While for poison, it's not even an issue either. In all my years of playing this game, I've never once thought, oh no, that poison's going to be a problem. No, because it hasn't, nor have I met another person that was concerned about it. This mask is good in concept, but terrible in execution. Number 12, Volsung. Out of all the Dragon Priest masks, I would say that this one is the most random of the bunch, because the enchantments on this one are all over the place and don't seem that they would be compatible. Listen to this. This mask grants a plus 20 to your carry limit, makes prices 20% better, and lets you breathe underwater. You see, it's weird, not to mention kind of lackluster. The increase to carry capacity is nice, but there are better items that can increase it and by bigger margins, as well as other means like the Steed Stone or the extra pockets perk. Water breathing, like I've said before, how many times are you going to be in a situation where you are going to spend large periods of time underwater? So, not that practical. The better prices thing is good, but doesn't make up for the rest of the mask's enchantments. Number 11, Miraak. When it comes to all the masks that were introduced in the Dragonborn DLC, I would have to say that Miraak's mask is arguably the weakest of the 4. And yes, I know that his mask can fluctuate depending on what level you beat him and take his face, but it doesn't matter if you get this mask early on or later. It doesn't change it too drastically since it will only increase your magicka by 40 to 70 points, which isn't bad, but compare that to the rest, it's kinda small potatoes, because there are better masks out there if you're looking for something to help you with your magical prowess. But two things that I do like about this one would be that it can either come out as light or heavy armor, depending on which skill is higher, and its design, because look at this thing, it looks dope. Number 10, Vokun. I would say that this mask is best suited for players who like to rely on passive abilities when casting their spells, since it decreases the magicka cost for alteration, conjuration, and illusion spells by 20%. If you like to use spells from those 3 schools, then it might be right fit for you. However, for me, I don't see myself wanting to use it mainly because I don't use spells from those schools of magic. Conjuration is fine, have no issues there. Alteration is something I would only use if it were needed for a current situation. It's not something I would use often. While for illusion, I don't use those spells. They suck. So not a useful mask. For myself, that is. Number 9, Nahkriin. I like the quest you have to do which leads to you finding this mask on Solstheim, called the Final Descent, where you have to end up finding the Bloodskull Blade, a sword where you can shoot blasts of energy. Hands down the best thing you can get from that quest, which is including the mask. Mainly because I don't like its enchantment, being 50% more resistant to shock damage and being able to do 25% more damage with shock spells. When it comes to the resistance, shock is nowhere near as common compared to its other elemental counterparts. I mean, how many enemies at the top of your head can do shock damage? Then think about all the enemies out there that can do either fire or frost damage. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Number 8, Dukan. This mask has a similar property to that of Nahkriin, except replace shock with frost, being 50% more resistant to frost damage and do 25% more damage with frost spells, which makes it more useful than the mask previously mentioned, though if we are looking at how common enemies use frost magic, I would say that you encounter an enemy who uses ice magic more than who uses lightning magic, but you all know which element is going to be used more frequently than either of those two. But one thing that I like about this mask is that it will augment and make your frost breath and ice form shouts a lot more powerful, if you're someone who likes to use those shouts often. Number 7. Ahzidal. Just like both of the other masks that I mentioned, this one is a part of the trio, only this time with fire, making it 50% more resistant to fire damage and doing 25% more damage with fire spells, arguably making it the best mask out of the ones that were added in with the Dragonborn DLC, since the number of enemies that use fire is incredibly high, so I don't feel the need to list them all, not to mention that this mask can be used alongside the Ahzidal's armor, which can be found during the quest Unearthed. Using the mask with the rest of the armor pieces can fortify your enchanting by 10 points, which is perfect if you're wanting to be a beastly magic user. Number 6. Krosis. For anybody who's looking to do a good thief build, one item that I would recommend that could help you with that would have to be this mask right here, as its enchantment adds a plus 20% to your lockpicking, archery, and alchemy skills. The fact it is also considered light armor too should really help out with any and all thieving you plan on doing. Lockpicking is an important skill that all classes should have a degree of skill in. Archery also a good thing to increase as well, since all players at one point or another pick up and use the bow, even if you don't do an archer build. Trust me, I can attest to that statement personally. Alchemy is something I never really bothered with. I prefer smithing and enchanting more, but I will not discredit alchemy's uses. Though one thing I have to question about this mask is how come out of all the other dragon priests who are all located in ruins, why is Krosis located at a random dragon lair? And why are all 3 words of throw voice shout there too? This has nothing to do with the mask, but I just want to know the answer to these bizarre questions. Tell me, Todd Howard, what is the lore for Krosis? Number 5. Konahrik. This is the crown jewel of all the masks, and can only be attained by collecting all 8 of the masks in the base game, plus the wooden mask. Now the question is, was it worth all the hassle? The answer is yes. Taking the unique design aside, and the fact it is made out of solid gold, it has a damn good enchantment. Whenever you reach below 15% or lower on your health bar, there's a chance where it can heal the wearer up to full HP. Plus it will create a flame cloak around the wearer, damaging nearby enemies for up to 10 seconds. Pretty sweet, right? But hang on, there is more. There's also a small chance when all that is happening, the mask will summon a spectral dragon priest ally to help you. The mask is most definitely deserving to be this high up on the list, but the reason as to why it isn't number 1 is because all that stuff I said that can happen, there's only a small percent of it actually doing it. The healing effect only happens 15% of the time, while the summon ability only happens 3% of the time. So consider that a warning if you plan to use that mask and get mad that doesn't seem to work, but it is still worth the effort. Number 4. Otar. Think of this mask as the superior version of the trio mask that you can get from the Dragonborn DLC, as it gives you a 30% resistance to fire, frost, and shock damage. While yes, the other masks give a much higher resistance at 50% resistance, meaning that this mask should statistically be worse than the DLC trio, but that resistance is only to one specific element, unlike Otar where you can have a defense against a wide variety of foes. Now the question I ask, is it better to have a superior level of defense against one thing, or a decent level of defense against everything? Personally, I would go with the latter. Now this mask may not grant the wearer increased damage when doing elemental spells, but I don't really think that matters, since its main purpose is defense, not offense. Number 3. Nahkriin. I would say that this is one of the best masks to use if you plan on using a heavy magic build, since this mask's enchantment increases your magicka by 50 points, it makes it to where both your destruction and restoration spells cost 20% less magicka. The reason why I put it up this high is because if you plan on mainly relying on magic, destruction and restoration are arguably the 2 best schools that you are going to end up using. Destruction for offensive purposes and restoration for healing and support, which is why I would say that this mask is a better choice compared to other masks that do a similar thing, i.e. Vokun. Number 2. Rahgot. If you're looking for something that can help with your endurance, then allow me to present to you the solution to your problem, as this mask grants the wearer a massive increase to your stamina bar, increasing it by 70 points. That is a big boost. Definitely something you want to have if you are playing a warrior and you plan on using a lot of power moves. It is even a bigger help if you're playing a character who specializes in using heavy armor, though you don't have to be a warrior if you want to use the mask's properties. Stamina can be used for a whole plethora of things, so I'm sure you can find a use for it. Number 1, Morokei. This one right here is the best mask in the game to have. A good amount of them do help with magic, but this one is going to be the most helpful to any and all players who are going to be doing a magic based build, as this mask makes your magicka regenerate 100% faster. Now, you may be wondering, Faceless, why did you put a mask that focuses on magic in the number 1 spot? I thought you don't like magic. Which is true, I made a whole video talking about why I don't like the magic system, but this item helps with the issues that plague said system. It is undoubtedly the best thing which can help someone who wants to use magic to its fullest degree. Heck, the only reason I end up doing magic somewhat is only when I have this mask. Not to mention, Morokei is my favorite of all the Dragon Priests, so that helps too. That should about do it here, folks. That is every Dragon Priest mask in the game ranked, from worst to best. Do you agree with my analysis? Which mask is your favorite? Do you want to know what the deal with Krosis is too? Tell me in the comment section down below what you think. Now if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and make sure you subscribe for more of that good old Skyrim content. Now until next time, I'll catch you all on the flip side.